All right, how you doing?
Judge
You,
yourself. We already went
yes,
over this.
yeah. And then I said the whole thing. Yeah, true.
Yep.
So you are level 241, Ice Lightning. Is that a new Terror burn? What's kind of like the situation, and what are you aiming for?
Yeah, it's a new Terrorburn. I have pretty much been a seasonal player.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm kind of reaching that burnout point where it might return to that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Summer's over since 2 days, so.
I'd like to get into the higher bosses just
Mhm.
because I've been playing since like beta 0.16, and prior to this character my highest was a 216 Cannon Master
Okay.
from the V update. So
Right. Yes. Limitless, I think. Right.
I don't know what that means.
I think that was the name of the update. Like.
I'm pretty sure it was the V update.
Yeah.
There
Yeah, because it was like.
coins and everything.
Mm-hmm. Because that was like breaking through fifth job and everything. So like surpassing your limits, whatever. I think was like the theme of the.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. I think.
But I'd like to get into the higher bosses.
Mhm.
I know the leveling is gonna take forever, and especially like the 250 to 260 is gonna be the pain.
Yeah.
I have the two, what is it, magnificent growth potions.
Mm-hmm.
I claimed them on the last day, so I have 2 weeks to get 9 levels.
Yep.
I forgot to buy all my totems last month, unfortunately, so
Same.
we're gonna have to do it on this month's totems, but
Yeah.
2 months for 7 level, 2 weeks for 7 levels seems doable.
Yeah. Kind of depends on your time availability, right? How's that looking?
I am very free except for Wednesday nights and Saturday afternoons because Magic. The
Because
Gathering.
I was gonna say, yeah,
Magic.
Magic Gathering, yeah. Do some what is it, Friday Night Magic? That's what we always had. Oh no, you were doing Saturday. Saturday Night Magic?
It's the local card store on Saturdays Chaos Draft, and then Wednesdays Commander Nights.
The Commander was always like a pretty memey thing that nobody really did. There were like 3 weirdos who did that, but now it seems like that's like a pretty
Yeah, it's like
legitimate
their
main thing now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess because when you have so many cards, you have to push Commander so that all of those cards actually see play, right?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So other than that, no, like work, school right now that is taking up time.
No, right now I'm the caregiver for my mom right now, so
I see.
lots of free time.
Yeah. And then your 2 hours setups do get interrupted every now and then, but that's not too bad, I guess.
Not too bad. I can usually do it like anytime. It's
Mhm.
just whether I need to chauffeur her somewhere or not.
Yep. I see. Okay. Cool. So when you say the higher bosses, you're talking specifically, first of all, like hard lucid, hard will, that kind of stuff?
Well, I haven't even gotten into
Yeah, normal first.
will
Yeah,
yet.
normal and then the hard versions.
I did get, or I can't remember if it was Kyle or somebody else from in the guild
Mhm.
took me on a practice run, so I understand the mechanics
Okay, that's
and
good.
got to experience those, but I know that you need to be at least 245 before you even bother, because your damage is just gonna tickle up.
Yeah, it depends on how far your count is, right? Like if I go on a new 240, 241, 242 with my Legion and my links, right, my level of funding, I might be able to do like an okay amount. But if the earlier in the stages your account is, yeah, the closer you want to be to 250, just because of that level of reduction. It just reduces the efficiency of all of your upgrades. But of course, if you have more total, then a lower efficiency will still get you to a total amount where you can get stuff done.
Yeah.
So normal lucid has been done before or is going every now
Yeah,
and then.
I've
Normal
got,
will is the transition now.
I don't have a set party for normal lucid, but I've been getting it done the past, going off the fact that I have 10 stones, 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I haven't bothered to look for even remotely close to a group for will.
Yeah, I imagine now with the new boss feature that might be quite a bit easier if you find 1 or 2 people in the guild who want to run, and then you just find a few fills. Should be pretty solid, right?
I hadn't considered that.
I guess more and
Okay.
more people might be. You got the difficulty up top, so you see easy there, and then depending on the time of the day, of course, there might be busier or might be more free. But I think more and more people are only starting to figure that feature out and are going to be using it more and more. I think in a month or so, there's always going to be like a few on the list. Now it's only.
I thought people were memeing about it that it's never used in KMS.
Yeah, I think the reason is that in Korea, everyone is always on the same time zone, so you can just go there and maybe find people.
Oh.
But it depends on how much people are already just using the guild and using like Discord and stuff to do it. But I see a lot of Smegas, and this will basically just replace Smegas for people, because instead of doing a Smega, you just put a posting. And from everything I heard, there are very few postings because postings just fill really quickly and people run and then get it over with. And maybe the reason why the listing is pretty empty is because the parties actually fill quickly, and because the game isn't, it doesn't have like 50 million concurrent players, so it just fills up pretty quickly and the turnover is fast. So, I mean, that's what I'm hoping. But
MapleStory is not a popular game? What?
not like Lost Ark level. Although, yeah, if you look at the player numbers for that, it's since launch, it's been a little bit on the decline. But I mean, still way more people than for us, of course.
Yep.
We've had like the inverse. We're at like close to all-time high peaks, at least in last summer. Okay. And then the eventual goal is just to keep steadily going, because you didn't mention like 250 is going to be slower. That's definitely slower, but they did. Was it with Destiny or even before Destiny where they reduced the EXP, right? 250 to 260 was cut down. And I did notice that on my Demon Avenger, because I started back on that one, right? That was like 252. You get it from 252 to 260 was, well, of course, different level of the account and how strong the character is, etc. Of course, but it was very manageable for me.
It was just,
you're almost saved by the fact that we're kind of limited to totems now, so you don't have to feel, that pressure of needing to do like 4 hours a day every single day, but because you kind of can't. So that gives you a little bit more freedom to just say like, well, I'm going to do a totem, and then the next day I'm just going to do absolutely nothing. And then one day you really feel like it, you do 2 or maybe 3 totems, and then you have like a week where you can kind of just chill. Just to find that balance, I guess. What you feel like doing?
Yeah.
Okay. And is there anything else you use as kind of like a metric to check like how far in the game you are, and how you determine like if you're having fun, other than maybe your level and what bosses you're doing?
Numbers go burr.
Okay, yeah, you just want a big number.
Pretty much.
So how are you working on the optimization of your infinity with your bind and with your burst timers? Are you working on that?
I usually don't start the infinity until we're getting ready for the burst phase, but I'll usually pop that and Epic Adventure at the start just to get Infinity going a little bit, and then I'll hit the AB link before throwing everything, essentially. Yeah,
because there's a massive difference in your burst, and you're very burst heavy, right? There's a massive difference in your burst, whether you pop Infinity right in the beginning, or whether you're timing your burst to start when your Infinity is almost ending. Of course, if you're in a party, you have to get a little bit, your margins have to be a little bit wider. You can't be like, okay, last 10 seconds, everyone wait for me. Okay, now bind and burst it. But even if you're taking like the last 25 seconds or something of the Infinity versus like the first 25 seconds, it's a really big difference in how much damage you're going to be putting out. So in general, you want to get into
a little earlier then.
Yeah, like if you're standing outside waiting for the boss and everyone's like popping their buffs, you should already like pop your Infinity. And then if there's like 30 seconds left and everyone's going in and then like doing their last little bit of skills and then being like bind and burst, that you are like in your last 20-ish seconds of your Infinity and you can pop that whole thing. It'll make a major difference. And then the great part is after that you can just pop the other Infinity. And then, because it is a 3-minute cooldown, so that first 3 minute will be off again. Off cooldown again, and then you can pop it again immediately, and it'll be synchronized with domain. So it'll kind of depend on the party if you're doing every 2 minutes hard burst, or if you're doing every 3-minute domain and then big bind with that. It'll depend a little bit on the team composition, but you definitely want to be thinking, as a burst class, you want to be thinking about optimizing your damage on that level, because you are going to be putting out way more DPS during burst than DPM out of burst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sense.
And especially for your soloing, right? When you're soloing, it's even more important. So there you want to really like pop the infinity and then just, you know, do some DPM stuff, whatever. Maybe use some of the other skills already that have lower cooldown. So you got your Jupiter Thunder is like only on a 2 minute, right? So you can probably get through a whole one of that. But definitely you can get through like at least a Bolt Barrage or two.
Yeah.
But yeah, know exactly how long it lasts, right? So just pop an infinity and just count it, see how long the buff lasts, and use that for your guesstimation on like when do I need to press it. Like, because sometimes you'll be like, oh, my bind is still on cooldown. But if your bind is maybe on a minute cooldown, that might be the time to press infinity, so that when the cooldown for your bind is ready, that everything else is also ready, and that your infinity is like optimized, right?
Makes sense. Yep.
And Ice Lightning is very strong early on, so it's not really, you don't really feel like it's as necessary early on, but once the bosses just get harder and harder and harder, there will be more pressure on, you know, all of the cogs in the machine to do their job properly, and you won't get away as much with you can always do a BA as well, right? You can go to the fog training forest and kind of do it both ways, and then kind of just feel what the difference is. I know, you know, with because it's final damage, but it's final damage percentage, but I wouldn't be shocked if it was like 15 to 20% difference just on timing your infinity differently with your burst. And of course, you know, the further you go, the bigger of a chunk that damage actually is, that 15 to 20%. So that's a good thing to just start practicing with now that you're getting more in control of those weaker bosses, right? Might be a difference between like doing a burst and then a bunch of damage afterwards to actually doing a little bit of damage first and then the burst just completely nuking them. That'll give you, I think that as well, it would be a way of like optimizing your damage output without even doing any upgrades whatsoever.
I hadn't considered that.
Yeah, it's a lot of moving parts, right? Because if you look at the progression grid, right, you see like all of these columns and all of these rows, and those kind of are easy to grasp, but like the level of, you know, learning the boss mechanics, taking more calculated risks in when you hit, when you don't hit, timing properly all of your buffs together, and getting a feeling for internal, like an internal clock of when you need to press something and when a boss is probably going to be doing something. These things help you put all of the work that you've put into your character to so much better use and gaining efficiency there, but they're so hard to quantify. I can't say like, oh, on this stage of the game you have to have at least killed like 100 Vellums or something. It's a little bit hard to qualify it like that. But yeah, practice does make perfect for sure.
Yeah, I think right now when I'm doing damage and or doing bosses, it's usually like pop the infinity, throw everything, and try to get in that second Bolt Barrage near the end. But what you're saying makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, pop infinity, one Bolt Barrage, then do your regular damage, and then burst at the end, and then. Yeah, but better than that is even just pop infinity outside, and then, you know, then do all of your buffs, then do all of your shit, and then by the time you're in and prepped, then combine everything with the higher infinity, and because you've seen how your range goes, right? You pop infinity and it's good, but the end of infinity is even better. Because I don't know if mine is around the same level.
777 right now. If we hit infinity, it's just straight 13. And so that'll probably hit like 17 by the end of it.
Yeah, so if it's 17 or 18, like from 13 to even like 17 and a half or something, is another extra third, right? So that's almost 30% extra burst. So that's that's just kind of like a side thing, because again, in the Ice Lightning, the mages in general, pretty overtuned at this point, so you don't feel that need to. But if you're going into those higher level bosses, we really are, you know, hoping that everyone plays their character properly. And because you can be 40k stat, but if you don't play your character, you know, like a 40k stat Ice Lightning, you might as well just be like 30k stat, you know? It's really that big of a difference. Sure. So if you want to make all those numbers count, practicing with the character and maybe finding other Ice Lightnings and maybe some tips that they use. But yeah, I would say one thing is definitely know exactly how many seconds your infinity is, just popping it and just like timing it. That's a pretty important thing, because that's your baseline for all the other stuff that you do, and then looking at, okay, I have 120 seconds, or whatever, however many it is, like boom, and that's maybe that's like three of this skill or 2 of this skill, and then you know what you can push where and what you have to hold off on.
Okay, it starts at 15.6 right now. It's still. Sheesh. God damn. Okay. That's,
yeah, my range is still going up.
That's big.
Mine is ending now at 9.25 at the end, and then goes down to 4, I think.
Oh, you've got
4.2, yeah.
You've got that buff duration line, though.
I got this on reveal on unique. I'm like, not touching that.
Jeez.
Yeah. I was like, I mean, if I go to legendary, I'm going to try to roll this on unique anyway. So,
yeah. Unless
I'm really committing, I'm just keeping this on unique. Saving me that money.
I hit Meso 20% mainline pretty early. But then, what was it, last weekend with the 50% off?
Yep.
I was trying to get that attack speed or
Did you circulate first? What kind of order did you do?
I had Mesotain and the 20% crit rate second line.
Okay.
So I don't think circulating would have really helped me, but I could be wrong there.
It could have. It's easier to get 100 crit without the 20 crit than it is to get like your max buff duration without 38% buff duration. But as we, they are kind of nerfing the total damage of Infinity, but it still means that buff duration is still nice because you're still keeping the buff for longer.
Still staying at the top. Yeah.
So like the main priority for unique line in the mages is definitely the buff duration one over the critical rate one. But it might be that earlier on in the game where your legion is smaller, that the critical rate is more important because you're killing everything anyway, but you have an easier time getting 100% crit this way.
Yeah.
So yeah, right now, kind of like in between, it would be great if you could have gotten anything useful on the top. Yeah, like even if it was boss damage or meso or drop or attack speed, any of those would probably be fine at this point. And then I would just save forever until you're really, really endgame with the character. You want to go super hard, and then probably circulate for 38 buff duration, and then go from there. But I wouldn't do that until you have a few million honor XP at least.
Gotcha.
That last step, Hopefully by that point they've tweaked the numbers on invulnerability a little bit more, because they did mention that they want to make invulnerability even easier to hit good numbers on. So hopefully in upcoming changes they're still going to be tweaking that.
That was
yeah, it's already a lot better now than it was at some point, but yeah, it's still not a great system. I mean, there's a lot of gains to be made there, but yeah, it used to be a way more horrible system. So we've been on the right track. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and here's my Ken Masters sitting on attack speed +1 from the older invulnerability with like 200k on a roll.
Yeah. Of course, yeah. I think my Cannoneer rolled 20% crit just with regular rolls super easily. But then, because of how big my Legion is and everything, I have enough crit because, like over 9k Legion now, so I can fill quite a bit of the crit part. So I actually don't need the crit. With just the crit and the Legion and the links, without any link skills for crit, I'm already at like 108% with like decent sharp eyes. So yeah, with a little bit of hyperstat, it's very easy to make up. But yeah, of course, until you get to that point, it's a very good placeholder. So yeah, you could elect every time there's 50% off to just like lock the last 2 and see if you get anything useful out of the top one. And then if you get anything useful out of the top one, I would just hold until you have like a mill or 2 at least honor experience, I would say, and then reassess. And hopefully by that time you're like, you're looking towards like Varys Hilla and bosses like that, and then you can really see like, okay, the party I'm running with has a huge shortage of damage, so we need to go hard, or your party's actually kind of okay, and your solo bossing is also fine, and you can just keep going with whatever you have, Like my Arc has weapon attack, drop, and meso still as the invulnerability at level 280, but, we're clearing Black Mage super fast, so there's no reason for any of the expenses there, right? I'm still holding out for just the invulnerability preset, and then hopefully I can just lock that, and then... yeah, and then maybe reroll after that, and then go for something really hard. put that
Yeah, yeah.
10 million honor to use. Yeah, other than that, interoperability seems like it's at a good stage. Anything else here in the hyperstat, or I guess just in regular in the stat window that you had any questions or concerns about?
I know I need to tweak my hyperstats a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
right now, I just haven't reset it since starting. It still has the 6 levels of Arcane Force to make the original, what was it, Vanishing Journey, make that easier.
Oh yeah.
I am using that to fix my crit rate, but I was at 100, so I don't know what I changed.
This is the mobbing setup, right?
Oh, that
For
might be.
for
Yeah, but I don't
hyperstats.
have crit rate there is the thing, so
Oh, you don't now, you mean?
I'm confused. Does this change it? I lost 5 crit rates somewhere.
Your decent sharp eyes isn't on. That's probably
Oh, that's probably what it would be then. One of these.
yeah, one of those auto buffing boys maybe getting
Yeah, that's probably what it was. There it is.
There you go.
But now we're just a little over.
Yeah, should be at 105.
Okay. Whew. I was having a little panic attack there.
Yeah, sometimes well you can hover over the crit rate now, right, and see like what the sources are. That can help you a bit more to determine where everything's coming from and which one you might be missing. That's pretty pretty helpful.
I did the math, I think. Whenever I get out of... This is a real Abso, but I ended up rolling it almost identical to the fake Celab, the only difference being magic attack over damage.
Okay. Yeah. That's a lot better.
The only... Like, I'm pretty sure I did the math. If I get the... What is it? Night Lord and...
Marksman?
Probably. To 200, and then the Beast Tamer to 210, I'll be at exactly 100% crit rate. So
without the hyperstats, you mean?
Yes.
It's okay to have
Or not.
like 5 stats and hyperstats, for example, because the further you go, level 5 is basically free. So, but 5% comparatively on top of getting 90% from everything else becomes comparatively very expensive, right? The opportunity cost increases to get it from other sources that are already high. So it's totally fine to balance around having like level 5 or 6 critical rate. That's totally okay. So like 5 or 7%, that's super cheap. If everything else is going to like 10, 11, 12, you'd rather just put like 7 in critical rate and then move a whole bunch of other stuff around, or move a link skill around that will give you more damage, or maybe move your legion pieces around that will give you more boss damage, for example.
I don't run Phantom. So that's what I was trying to keep Phantom out of it, basically. Because that's a good chunk of damage that we can get instead of just crit rate.
All right. Yeah, so we're kind of like rolling into some of the topics already. Are there a few topics where you feel like you need that we definitely need to address early on to make sure that we have like good foundation of everything else that we're going to be talking about?
I think my biggest thing is gear, and then maybe like order to do Legion in. But I believe I'm pretty sure your link for it has like a kind of recommended order to do them in, so that's not an issue.
Yeah, kind of recommended, right? So it basically just goes by what I think are the most important stats in terms of growing your account. Early on, if you're mainly focusing on just one character, I think the individual value of the EXP links is slightly higher. But once you start working on the Legion itself, critical rate and critical damage are by far the most important, just to give your character that early damage. And really, efficiency-wise, is just so high because there is a lot of innate critical damage in characters, and none of it is applying if you don't have critical rate. So you want to get that critical rate up, you want to get that critical damage up, and then your just flat damage that you can get, especially now with the changes with the reboot passive, is very, very important. And yeah, characters are just going to be one-shotting and just killing quickly for so much longer if you have those fundamental links ready, and then all the other characters are just going to, fall automatically. It's going to fall into place, and then you get to the bossing links, and then that's really when your main character is going to be struggling more to, you know, really optimize damage for bossing, and then you'll be able to level those characters to optimize your bossing damage more easily because you have those fundamental like yellow and green columns here, you know, taken care of. We can double check quickly, I guess, which ones you already have, because I assume that most of them will probably be in those categories, right? Your Cannoneer is a old character that you played a little bit more, or was it like a Terra Burn, or?
It was just for the V update. I made it fresh then and fell in love with the movement, and
sitting on your cannon and then jumping around.
Yeah, I keep trying to go back to it, and it's just I don't know what it is. I can't. I think there's partially in the fact that it only had the giant bazooka. It doesn't have the other 5th job skills, so it's kind of like...
you weren't like around to unlock them when they came out one at a time, so you have to throw nodes at it to unlock them first.
Yeah, I just haven't, and I don't know. I just can't. Going back to it, it's just like I don't want to do this. I don't feel like doing. I'd rather just start something new and be progressing with that. It's like stopping watching One Piece. I caught up at like episode 600. I keep trying to go back, and it's just like I would need to rewatch the whole thing.
Yeah, that might be like a sunk cost thing where you feel like something is pulling on you, that you have to do it because it would be a waste if you don't, but you're not feeling any real intrinsic motivation to really want it. Is that kind of what's going on?
Maybe.
Oh, sounds like a no, but I mean, it can be conflicting things, right? Like a part of you wants to, part of you just doesn't really want to.
Yeah, like I love the movement 100%, but what ends up happening every time I log onto the characters, I'm just going back and forth, jumping on whatever town map. So it's like, if I'm at least on my ice, I'm at least on my ice lightning, I'm like doing stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of just back and forth in town.
Like feeling like you're maybe wasting the time a little bit that you could be spending on Ice Lightning to get more significant gains there instead.
That sounds more accurate, yeah.
Because you're kind of like trailing behind everything the Ice Lightning has already done, right? So it's not like you're unlocking new content that you've never played before, but the Ice Lightning still has the potential to unlock new content you've never played before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty common thing, because even though you get to experience the same parts of the game through a different lens, because you're, you know, playing a different character, so you have to engage with it in a different way, it's still the same content. To an extent, that also makes it faster, so you can blow through it a little bit faster, but that's typically what you start doing when your main character, your Ice Lightning, in this case, is just not really stuck, but the progression just slows down significantly. And then it feels good to level a slower level or lower level character, so you can actually gain levels again. You know, not once every month or so. Then that tends to be way more appealing to people. You know, once they get to 275, get to 280 or something, then it's like, okay, you know, I actually want to gain levels again every once in a while. So let's get a lower level character. You know,
I was looking for advice for like the next couple of months, not the next couple of years.
No, okay,
you want to go that far.
Well, we'll keep our eye on the distant future, but I see you had some expressive liberties with the Ho Young here.
Yeah, he's not on the Legion board yet, so I had to throw him in there. But that's all of my characters on Reboot. No other below 70s. My thinking when I started this was, let's get everything to 70 for link skills, and then a couple of them to 120. And I didn't realize for the longest time that how easy 120 to 140 is. So I've slowly been going back and getting more of them to 140 at least.
Yeah, and the higher the levels are of the higher level characters, right? The more valuable those levels on the lower level characters become to still keep growing your Legion.
Yeah.
Because getting 20 levels on a level 210 versus on a level 120, that's considerably easier. Okay, but so yeah, when it comes to Legion, I guess the order and everything, you're okay with that?
Yeah, the with the, I'll just go back to the link if I really need to.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's interesting. It actually shows the 0 here in between the fire poison and the blaster because of the value of the level, right?
The rank,
yeah, because it's not an S rank yet, so it's like
I was having
below
trouble.
140.
I was having trouble finding it to put it on the board at the start when I first got it. What is it, 135? Because it's still B rank at that. I was like,
yeah, 130 is
my
barely
zero?
B. Yeah. You're like, I knew it was this level. Why is it not showing up? Yeah.
Game froze.
Okay. All right. So that's Legion. Cool. And then I guess the extension of Legion is like links, right? Did you have any questions there?
No, I'm good with that one. I pumped up, I think it was Demon Slayer, Evan, and Mercedes off of the 201 to 210 potions, or whatever the level range was.
Yep. Yeah,
so that was very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking about, like, I've been slowly working on the 0 as well, and because I know that will help further Legion that much more, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, links I'm not too worried about.
Okay. Then we won't waste any time on that. Okay. Yeah, usually I like to do equips last, so I guess we'll just blow through all the other stuff real quick and make sure that that's all on point, and then we can circle back to the equips. Sound good?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay. You've got your shop here, so I guess this might be.
Left.
Yeah, you got like 6K. Oh shit! When is the last day for that? It's this Sunday, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, I should be looking at that too. So you could still buy the event ring scroll, but I don't know if you have any event rings that you could use that on.
I'm pretty sure they're all legendary already, at least on the Ice Lightning.
Yeah, so maybe the shop is something that we will look at right after the equips then, once we know that what the plan is with those.
Sounds good.
Doing a little bit of the house thing every now and then.
Been definitely slacking on there. Throwing that in was more of a meme than anything.
Okay. I mean, it is part of the progress. You know, there is a
now it is, yeah,
damage buff and EXP buff that you can use every now and then. If you have it maxed, I believe it's 15% EXP for. Is it up to half an hour? I forgot the exact time, but it is nice to once a day to just get some extra EXP.
Yeah. Especially
because it stacks with everything, so you know it can't hurt. Got a beautiful home. That's nice.
Thank you.
Monster Collection. I imagine that with Monster Collection and with weekly bosses, you are okay to max out for totems and then not buy them, but hopefully buy them in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I also forgot. It was like, oh, monthly reset. Oh, damn it. Never mind. Lost like 12 totems. Whoops. But I mean, it's a luxury problem to have, right?
Yeah.
Probably a whole bunch of reward points also expired, but whatever.
Like only like 4,000, luckily enough, but still painful.
Yeah, well, you know, we get over that. But yeah, other than that, you're fine on capping and everything. Totems is good.
Yep.
Okay. Then we have familiars here. Let's see, boss. You have 315 ID. You've got increased meso and item drop rate.
And then I'm leveling a third one in that setup. And then the 4 at the bottom is because I know for Will you're supposed to run the party HP. So just getting ready with those ones.
Yeah, and small amount there, even if it's for parties, definitely better than nothing. And then a large amount HP, MP, nice. All right, that's a lot. Yeah, okay. The one thing will be, though, make sure that if you are doing this, that your IED doesn't go too low, right?
Yeah. I think
still,
without the IED FEMs right now in my damage gear, I'm at like 92.8 or something like that.
Okay. That sounds fine.
And that's without that's only visual as well. That's not functional, which includes the mage.
Link
I have maxed out Mage Link and the IO has, can't remember if it's second or third job. They get another like 10% from freezing monsters.
Freezing, yeah.
Freezing monsters.
Yeah, there's some critical damage based on freeze stacks or something, right? With lightning skills.
Yep.
That's why you have that that ice tornado to keep all the stacks up.
Yeah.
Okay. But familiar seems in order. So are you mainly making uniques, or are you also still making epics?
I'm going for uniques right now. I really only started that 2 or 3 levels ago, so
yep.
We're still very low in familiar numbers.
Yeah, because you were talking about the arcane power and the hyper stats, but I saw you were at 890. Maybe you're at 900 by now, but 900 is like barely that mark to hit the the max bonus damage on the spiders, right? So you want to make sure that
I'm at 920. If I go to the purples.
Oh yeah, so you could already take 4 levels 600.
Out. Yeah. So I could take a couple levels off.
I mean, if you're okay at 890, then you can definitely take some more out because you will be gaining more levels now. The last ones, right, the Sphera and the Morass are still leveling pretty quickly.
Yeah. I need to try because I lost a decent chunk of damage last weekend, I think it was. I spent like 3 bill re-rolling a bunch of my gear into the 5 lines of Meso and 3 or 4 of item drop. So I lost a decent chunk of damage doing that. But oh my god, I should have done that sooner.
The what?
I should have rolled for the drop gear a lot sooner. It would just, oh my god, it's so noticeable.
It's one of those you don't really know what you're missing until you have it kind of things. Yeah. It's a big difference. And that's also the main reason why usually I advise to go for epic familiars first and just like mass make epics so that you can chase that large drop rate familiar first, because that's another 50% on top of what you have now. And that's going to make a huge difference in the long term for getting item backups as well, right? Like Dominators, Primals, and kind of Treasure Rings. So you can kind of brute force your way through the early stages of that, you know, post 17 star stuff.
Sorry, for the large item or large meso?
Large item, yeah. Large meso by itself won't really have any value. If you get a large item and meso, you can keep that. It's a little bit higher on the item drop, but it also will come into play once you go into full damage gear if you're trying to train in higher level areas like in Cernium and stuff. Then that familiar will be very useful because it'll make sure enough bags drop on just one slot. And yeah, that's valuable right there.
Gotcha.
Once you have enough item drop rate, the meso drop rate familiar won't really do much anymore. Probably already doesn't do much anymore, right? Are you familiar with how that stacks?
Yeah, you need 66% item drop for 100% of bags, which I am hitting with my gear and decent holy symbol. So that means the meso drop rate is useless now.
Yeah, so you could level 2 familiars at the same time, which will be more useful if you're making mass epics versus making uniques, right?
Okay.
So you can do that to speed up that process and hopefully find that large drop faster. And then once you have that one, then go full uniques, get those big healers, get those other guys. Large, hopefully some boss and bigger ID. Yep.
So I should be spamming epics for... Okay.
Yeah, just until you find that large item drop, and then you can go full uniques, yeah.
I'll change that around then. Perfect.
A little bit more disappointment because you get to reveal more, but then even more, hopefully, bigger chances later because you get way more cards, right? Extra 50 drop. It's massive. It's like stacking another Legion drop coupon, so pretty huge. But yeah, you got your badges. That's nice. I guess eventually you might chase some magic attack badges here, but that's pretty far down the line.
Don't friggin' appear until the end of the game, or they're not available anymore.
Yeah, just get a Seraph from the booster pack, and you'll be fine.
No big deal.
Just do that.
Easy.
I've done it twice. How hard could it be?
Jesus.
And the first one I used on a non-magic character too. I was like, maybe this was not a great. Was the other one the Apocalypse or the Labyrinth one? No, the Void one. Yeah, Void one is magic attack. So that's 245. You're pretty close to that. So yeah.
Oh, that's only 245?
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Okay, we got a reason to totem again. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, exactly. Easy 1% attack in arm's reach. That's one thing though. Some people like to use those big level up potions at 243 so they can immediately go into like VC3 and just in that area in general, into Moonbridge area, and then get the increased rates. But of course, the further you go, the more efficient the individual levels are. So if you find that your character can make way better rates there, there's of course the matter of monster level plus no arcane power bonus damage, or not as big at least. That's going to set you back in damage quite a bit. But I did hear from some people, like I think Elk went there yesterday on his Adele, and he was able to immediately like one shot on his Adele, of course. But I don't know. You've got 2 infinities. You've got possible guild skills. You will alternate, right? Are you doing that when you're training sometimes?
I don't use guild skills or anything. I don't need to. At least where I am.
I mean, yeah, that does mean you have wiggle room. If you are in an area where you need it, then you can still use it, right?
Yeah.
So you like alternate the critical damage and the percentage damage one, so you always have one of the two working for you.
Yeah, and the using the infinities would double my damage pretty much. So.
Yeah, not all the time, but like on average, right? So your uptime would be really good on them. So that could really help you bridge that gap of the level difference and the arcane power being lost. Okay, you got your professions in here. That looks nice. Empathy's going up quite well. And then insight is going to be next, probably getting some love, I imagine. Getting that elemental.
Insight? Yes. Insight.
Reduction.
Yep. Because ambition, I'm not using any trade potions on that. That's all from that'll be maxed in no time. I'm not worried about it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's so easy to max out. It'll come eventually for sure.
I was thinking to maybe skip insight for diligence. I don't know if that's just...
Diligence doesn't work in Reboot.
Guess the sarcasm didn't come through well enough, sorry.
Yeah. No, there is a minimal thing that diligence does, and that is that when you're crafting, there's a small chance you get double... Like the chance increases slightly, you get double the EXP. Which would be really good if it worked past level 10 to get to Meister quickly, but it doesn't work past level 10, so it's just absolutely useless, sadly.
Yeah.
It would be cool if it had some use, because, we don't have scroll, so all of that is stripped already, but then, yeah, for Reboot, it's just a dud, sadly. Yeah, but I totally didn't catch the sarcasm, my bad. Yeah. We have all your backups here. That's a good thing to look at, so we can kind of know what your pattern is and what stuff you are hoarding or not. I see some Juniper, and you are planning to go the long haul. So you're familiar with Threads of Fate and how that all works?
I am not. I have the wings, I think, on my Cannon Master, but I haven't done anything.
Do you know if you have the wings, do you know how many characters you've built up like friendship with?
It's probably 0. I don't know where to check that, but I can hop onto them real quick.
So you check on the left side. I believe it's under the... is it under the available quest one or under the daily? Yeah, it should be under the available quest one, I believe. Well, one of your 2 light bulbs should be called Threads of Fate, and then you open up the UI, and in the UI you should be able to see which characters are... If you hover over them, which characters have a little bit more information shown, and those will be the characters that you are able to talk to and give gifts to build closer friendship with them.
That's a fate. Okay, I'm here. Closeness 0, 0, 0.
Yeah, they're all 0, but you can see how many you can hover over. If you did your keep, I think it's like
3,
6,
4, 5, 6,
or maybe 7. Yeah, 6. So that's pretty good. That means you can build friendship with all of them. Some are a little bit easier to build than others, but if you build them all up, then you can see if I can remember which ones give which thing. I should be AFKing Threads of Fate now as well to get some stuff. But They decreased the EXP required below 245, so now 245, 249 requires quite a bit more EXP than 240 to 244. So using a 243 is less efficient than in the past. It is less efficient, but for some people, the VC3 is just such a great map that they cannot, they just want to go there ASAP. But again, if you're already making familiars and you're making decent money and you're making a decent EXP, you know, there might be no rush, but it's like a personal preference kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so Threads of Fate. Yeah, so so which ones do you get? You have the two Konoko sisters, probably, right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I had the 6 characters. Yeah, those two. The guy in the top right, both of the furries. Yeah.
Both of the furries? Oh yeah, okay. So Kuruma just wants as gifts, just wants regular arrows. So you can just buy those already immediately. So there's 2 things you can do, right, to build friendship. One is talking to them, and one is gifting. Talking you can do every hour, and gifts like 2 or 3, I think. But you could do that. So you could do that every hour all the way until they reach 50. So if you do that for a few days, you can get the 50 for free. And then the gifting, you can do up to 7 times per character per week. So it depends on what you want. So I know Ibaraki here wants level 4 potions. So defense potions level 4 are very cheap to make in bulk, and you can just have a whole batch, and then you can basically just keep gifting them to him. I don't know if you're watching the stream, that's basically what I'm doing now.
Yeah, I am.
So you can just, boom, hold NPC chat, and you can just see the bar go up. And then every Sunday to Monday that resets. So you can just, you know, it resets 15. So you only have to do 5 gifts of the possible 7 that you can do to fill it back up. So as long as you keep that up, it's pretty simple. So basically what you want to do is you want to get them to at least 70, and then you can do ask, I believe. Oh no, 50. 50 you can already do ask. And ask is where you give them a random task to go do something. And there are 2 tasks that you want. So one is gather herbs, and one is to go chop wood. And those 2 are the ones that you want. And so I have one character here that has that as an ask, but every single daily reset, the first character you click on to ask, their ask will reset. So you have to build up at least 2 characters' friendships to 50. And the higher the closeness is, the more rewards you will get from the ask. So the idea is that once you find one of those 2, like I'll talk to Ibaraki here, and he'll get a random, you know, like go to Sleepywood and defeat 999 monsters, really stupid, silly thing that I don't want it to do. So I'm going to log off so that it cancels out, and then relog in so that it resets. Otherwise, it'll count for, if I wait 30 minutes, then it'll count for that day. You can only do 5 times a day. So now I'll talk to Yorozu, who I know, or hopefully, if I didn't mess anything up, should have the chop wood ask. There it is. Go to Arena Chop Wood. So I click, and then basically they're on their way. So if you check again in the light bulb, you'll see that it's now here. And if I click here, Yorozu's like, yo, you need to chill. Give me 30 minutes, right, before I give you stuff. And during this time, it's best that you just stand still on a town map, honestly, because there's a bunch of stuff that can mess with it. And if it gets messed with, you just get like 1 million meso in the end instead of your reward, which is a little bit shitty.
Gotcha. Do you have a link for that?
For this, that I'm just saying? No. Someone did request a command with information for that, so I will be making that soon. Okay. But it's basically, just build friendship and do ask. And then, so basically, once a character has built up an ask and you don't want that one, you can re-roll 1 for free at reset. But that's it, basically. The only way to scale that up is unlock an extra new character, but it's usually a whole lot of work. So you're just kind of like waiting until you get a chop wood or a gather herbs. Those are the 2 that you're looking for. And then once you have one, always in the first time of the day, talk to another character, start the ask, relog, and then start it on the character you want, and then stay AFK in town. Or like if you're training in a map, that's fine too, right? You can train in a map, but don't CC, don't move into like special areas, don't go into cash shop, you know, don't do any of those things, because then after the end of the half hour, you'll just get 1 million mesos instead of the bags that you're looking for, which I don't think I have any. Yeah. So if you have 100 fullness, you should be getting 20 bags a time. So you get 1 bag or 2 bags for every 10 fullness, basically. So that's why you want to keep them topped off. And then, as soon as you have 1, just don't mess it up. and you'll be good. And then you can really start making a lot, and you can keep up your totems very, very easily. I was able to keep up without that for a long time because mainly I wasn't doing all my totems. But once I started doing my totems, you blow through so many oils so quickly that you basically need this system if you want to keep up with the WOPs and the EOPs to keep track.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're adding work on alchemy to the list.
Yeah, a little bit, right? I mean, I guess if you're a level 10, you can already make the potions, so most of it is just the Threads of Fate part. Those defense potions for Ibaraki you can make with very low... yeah, I was going to check that. With very low level materials, so that's not super difficult either. Yorozu wants... Ooh, what does Yorozu want? I think Tengu wants, like, garnet ores or something. Yeah, garnet ores, aquamarine ores, and emerald ores, so, like, you know, that's pretty easy, too. You can very quickly just mass gift him a bunch of stuff. And then... Kinokonoko, I think, wants some kind of dolls that you can just gather. There's like a map where they drop, so you just farm there for like 15 minutes and you have enough for a month. Gotcha. That's pretty simple. I don't know if I have any for her left, so probably when I say this, why would I want that? Okay, yeah, so I'm all out of gifts for her. But again, these aren't as important because I have these two, so it's just more like if you want to keep up the summon skill, right? Summon skill is at 70 or higher, and then they get like a special skill. So Tengu gets the Tengu buff. Yorozu gets that extra little bind, but it's a very short duration, and it stacks. It keeps the same cooldown as other binds, so it has very, very limited uses. Half the other ones, Kruma's Claw is like an AoE attack that some people use to kind of abuse in systems where it wasn't meant to exist. And then they can kill monsters a little bit quicker. Yeah, other than that, I'm not...
Pino? Does that work for Pino?
I don't think so, no, because that's a limit to how much damage. No, it kind of works on other stuff where... yeah, no, for the whale, you have to have some kind of damage counter or just do a whole lot of sources of damage, sadly, still. You can put your... yeah, you can put your summon, right? Your ice summon next to it, and then...
Summon, Ice Age, if you go like a platform or two down with Bolt Barrage.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Bolt Barrage just down from it is pretty good, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's look at the other backup stuff you have here. How's Dream Defender? How are you doing with that? See, you have some coins here.
Yep, I've been slacking, but I think stage 60 or 70 I'm at now.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yep, no worries there. Got plenty of droplets, so once Lucid comes into play with the boss droplets, should have enough to make that weapon.
We're at 60, yeah.
Mm-hmm. 160, right?
Sorry, 60 it was Dream Defender.
60 Dream. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Droplets 165, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, other materials is all fine. You can all make what you need to make here. You can actually put some materials in a material bag now. That's always useful. You can only put like 2 different types of stuff in there before. Okay. I see you have Monster Park coins here. You're just gradually buying these Monster Park potions whenever you need to, right? Maybe some red on the side for mules and stuff like that. But you got a nice healthy buffer, so no problem with that.
Yeah, I was doing it religiously, but
Mm-hmm.
you missed one day and it's like, okay, I don't want to screw up my numbers anymore. Waited a week, missed the day, and then it's just like, okay, whatever, we'll do it when we do it.
Now you messed it up even more, yeah. It's a good daily to do. I do it too much. Like I almost at a level of OCD like have to do it every single day. That's not healthy, of course. But I'm also building Monster Parker medals on like extra characters, which is, it's basically best in slot medal. So, medal, yeah. So it kind of makes sense, right? Take some pressure off of that. You get the ones that you have highlighted here, like the Invincible Hero of the Snowfield, and you get the Monster Parker together, and that's a pretty solid foundation of some extra stats that otherwise are kind of hidden. So that's nice. Yeah, but other than that, it seems fine. Remember, if you do run Monster Park on other characters, those boxes, the reward boxes, are transferable now,
They're
so you can.
now,
Yeah, so that's really useful. You can just transfer that all back and make sure that everything goes to the right character, you know. So that's good. Got some cubes and flames. Yeah, we'll talk about priorities with that. You got your 2 big potions. Yeah, so if you can keep leveling and you're fine at the leveling pace that you're at now, use them as close to 250 as possible. But if you feel like you're really slowing down, you need that motivation, get to a new area, maybe something like maybe get to 244, use one, you know, to get to Moonbridge quickly, and then use another one right before it expires, something like that. You know, whatever you feel like you need to do to get there.
Yeah. We're gonna try to go into major depressive state over the next 2 weeks and just do all 15 totems and hope that's enough to get to 248.
Yeah, that could be enough. Yeah, I mean, you got depending on how you're doing, how hard you're going. Yeah, it sounds like that could be doable. Yeah. And you've got let's see here. You've got some dineros. So are you building up for the long term there, or for the more short term?
Long term, when I remember to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the Dreadnought takes forever, but slowly, a lot slower on that than anything else, I would say.
Okay.
I do know that I need to at least get the not pendant. I can't remember which one. There's one I'm
tattoo
ready.
most likely, right?
Maybe it's the pendant. I don't remember now. I think it's
the pendant is if you're
because
transposing the Dominator.
Yeah, that's what it was. Because I didn't bother to take Dominator to 17 because people were saying there's no point in going to 17. 16 is the ideal if you're gonna transpose it.
Yep.
Which doesn't make sense to me, but okay. People know better than I do, so.
The 16 Star Force, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you transpose, it gives you some extra bonus stats from the star, but also the main thing is that when you are transposed, the source, the target item is a higher level, and when you gain a Star Force on an item, that is based on the level of the item, how much that is. So all of those little bit more per Star Force all adds up together to being a whole chunk. And basically what they mathed out is that the base number of extra stats you get from transposing, plus the extra bonus stats per every individual star on Star Forcing after the transposing, that adds up together to being more than just transposing at a high star. It's not a huge difference, but it ends up being something like a few weapon attack and a few stat, but if you add it up together, it could be like easily like 15 to 20 flame score. But if you would have to get that extra 15 to 20 flame score on the item before you transpose instead, that would be way less efficient and would be way more expensive. So therefore mathematically it just makes more sense to transpose at 16 with a flame score of 105 or anything above that.
Gotcha. Math things that will just the word of
yeah, people just did all the. I think that's the second best thing. I think is transposing at 22, if I remember correctly. That's like really close. If you're trying to end up with a 21, it's I believe it's only like 3 attack and 6 stat difference or something like that. But I mean that is still substantial, right? That's like a 24. That'd be like a 15 flame score difference, and you know the price difference between like a 110 mark or a 110 pendant and a 125 pendant is that's billions. So. Might as well just save that on the front end.
Yep.
Okay, you've got some good backups. You've got rings, belts, earrings, and belts. And then, you know, I assume you don't have any, like, kind of treasure rings and not too many...
No, I've been getting shafted by that, unfortunately.
Well, you're getting the drop, and hopefully you get that, you know, you have, like, 1 or 2 more lines of drop to get, right? And you can get the large drop fem hopefully pretty soon. So that combined with building up your Legion and having a little bit more liberty to use the Legion coupons, hopefully combining those with some of the daily bosses you do and getting them all done in a short succession, hopefully that'll help all of that compounding together, right? Because MapleStory is really a matter of just compounding smaller individual buffs all together rather than one singular thing really determining what you get to do. So as long as you're making steady progress on all of those separate fronts, then, you know, that'll start snowballing together into a huge ball of gains.
Gotcha.
All right. Seems like you're not letting things expire, using things as you get them. Getting some MVPs. You got a Vac Pet that's also pretty useful in the maps where the platform's a little bit all over the place, right?
Oh my god. Getting Sherbert.
Yeah.
They gave us a free Sherbert, and it's just like, oh great, I'm a whale now.
I mean, yeah, it's crack. You it's like that first free taste, right? And then they take it away, and it's like, oh look, hey, $100. You want another one? It's like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, well, I'm Canadian, so it's 147. But
oh yeah, damn, yeah. Forgot your Monopoly money is a little bit struggling a little bit. Oh, we got one primal. Okay, that's a good start towards the extra ring, and then you still got a potion selector as well.
yeah, I didn't end up using both of them from the second one we got. So,
what's your idea on that one?
I was gonna push. I was gonna try to push something. I don't remember what now.
One of your Legion characters, or?
Yeah, one of the links. Yeah. I think I was leaning towards the Beast Tamer, but like the way that I leveled 200, I don't know if I make it in time. If I'm also trying to push for 248 in the next 2 weeks. So.
It seems like a lot of pressure to put on yourself at the same time.
So if not, I'll probably just end up throwing it on one of these 200 characters that I have.
I mean,
it'll probably end up being the Cannon Master as boss mule.
Yeah, that would probably be what I would advise. Yeah, because the other ones are either too far away from 200 and puts too much pressure on you, or they are 200 but like leveling the bishop, you're not really getting much out of that. Yeah. Or unless you want to make like the Demon Slayer into a boss mule as well, and you want to get like 4 levels on there. That's something you could do.
It was leaning a little bit more towards that being the bossing mule over the Cannon Master. Just because it actually has all its 5th drop skills.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a pretty big difference. I mean, you can throw like 20 nodes or something onto the Cannoneer, and there's a pretty good chance you could just craft them with that, right? 20 to 30 should probably be okay. But
the only thing the Cannon Master really has going for it, it's got 3 legacy items. The Krexel Pauldron, which is nothing.
My Cannoneer has that too.
Was it I think it's the Gold Richie Handkerchief. And the Ghost Ship Badge. So
nice. No darkness totems or anything like that?
No, I missed every time that they did.
Unlucky. I guess they're not officially legacy items yet, but it really feels like they will be, or we will realize that they are.
Right?
Yeah.
A month or 2.
Wow,
maybe?
I think we're in the I don't know if we are officially in the Halloween update. I guess next update is officially the Halloween update, so we'll see if we get forgotten or not.
That'd be nice.
It would be nice, yeah. But no. So the last time we had Dark Lords of Darkness, basically what happened is that they tried to nerf the event and try to shorten the event, and then people got pissy, so then they had to extend it. So I think their solution is now that they're just completely axing the event instead, so nobody gets to complain, and people aren't complaining hard enough, so they just kind of pretend like it was never an event.
Just freaking make all the badges potable. Why? What's wrong with that?
Korea just doesn't have it, and they didn't want badges that were more endgame than a super rare drop in the rarest set that drops from the toughest boss in the game. That was just a disconnect there.
Well, just make the highest endest pieces better, and there you go. Yeah.
I mean, maybe eventually, if the power creep sets in that far for Korea, maybe they'll do it. But it's not that they don't want people to be stronger in GMS or something, because we already are, right?
Yeah.
Just with familiars and Sweetwater and superior Golics and stuff, and attack speed, we have such a huge benefit already. But if the game is balanced around a server where everyone is weaker, and you make everyone way stronger, initially that feels good because the content is easier, but then what ends up happening is you just hit a wall faster, and then you're just stuck, and then people just stop playing the game, which, you know, for longevity is just not good for them. So they, out of preservation, they have to slow us down a bit.
We still have 4 slots on our equipment page, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I'm waiting for that cock ring equipment.
And space for like 2 or 3 more symbol buttons. So.
Yep.
Lots of power creep coming.
Yeah, there's power creep always on the way for sure. Okay, this XP, that stuff. Oh yeah. So the next one here is is V Matrix. Yeah, V Matrix is last thing here. Did you have any questions you can think of here?
A little bit in the fact that I already have so many buttons.
Yeah.
Damn, people killed Kalos.
Is there anything that's like really necessary
might make it just before Odium, then?
that I need to
Also
figure
happy
out how to
soup
get
time.
on the keyboard? Or am I just
the decent skills, or
like true arachnid deflection, or I know I was recommended. I know ethereal form I'm going to need to put on
ethereal form. Yeah.
So that I have an iframe.
The Goddess Blessing, the toggle, mana overload. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so mana overload is definitely one I need to.
Yeah, because even at low level, I believe at level 5, I believe it's already just 8% final damage across the board, and it's it's its own source. So all of your damage multiplied by 1.08 is that's good value for a slot, I would say.
It's its own source.
Yeah, it's its own separate source. It just makes your all of your skills cost a bit more mana, and then just gives you 8% final damage on all your skills. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's
I just had blink in there because of the passive.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. The mana overload would give you more damage across the board, definitely, than just the blink passive. And you probably don't need the blink as much, right? Because you have your up jump and your own float.
Yeah.
So there's way few situations where it's really necessary to have it. So a few priorities, I would say, few changes in priorities from what you have is if this is your mobbing setup, I assume, right?
The V matrix?
Yeah.
I don't change my V matrix at all.
So the further you go, the more you'll be changing it up. So if this is your mobbing setup, I would probably so I would have Holy Symbol, and if you don't need your second Infinity or even an Infinity at all, you could actually take that one out and replace it with Arachnid Reflection, so you have an extra summon to kill monsters. That'd probably be a net benefit. And I'd probably take out Blink and shift it with Mana Overload. Again, if you don't need the damage per se, you can even replace it if you have enough nodes and you've got that going. And see if you can get like Character Building 1 in there, for example, which can increase your EXP a little bit. But if you do need it's a special node called Character Building 1. You could craft it. Gotcha. If you do start needing the damage, Mana Overload definitely easy damage, uptime 100%, so that's really good for your baseline of damage of going in. If you do need if you're going to be, Holy Symbol in a leveled up slot, I would say. More drop rate, more EXP, definitely more important than like the Snow Witch, for example. You really want to focus on the leveled up slots on skills that either have increased uptime or reduced cooldown, or both, or that have very, very high uptime so that you get more efficiency out of them, as in priorities of what to level up, basically. So since the Holy Symbol percentages and the numbers go up, more so like the Snow Witch, like she probably just kills at level 1 and kills at level 25, right? So leveling her up immediately is not that not important at all for mobbing. It could be for bossing, for example, so then the priorities might shift a little bit. But if you're bossing, you probably want to look at like Ethereal Form might be very helpful, because your only iframe now is connected to your bind as well. You don't want to use it as such, right? So having
screw up the bind.
Mess up the timing, especially because of how important it is to synergize it with your Infinity. So you don't want to have to accidentally, pop it early, because that will hurt you more in the damage department. There's a little bit the downside. And then Holy Symbol could be in there when you're bossing, but since we have a lot of boss rooms, especially for the higher level monsters, what most people elect to do is not have Holy Symbol in the bossing setup and have full bossing nodes instead. So that makes it more likely to have the Ethereal Form and the definitely have the Unreliable Memory in there, right? But then if Holy Symbol goes out, you could have something like Goddess Blessing in there. Again, it's level 4, so it's not as strong yet. But since you're mainly a bursting character, Goddess Blessing is really nice bursting skill that will give you a lot of extra stat during that burst. So if you're starting to level for your burst specifically, that's a good skill to have in there. And I would put the Unreliable Memory also in a leveled up slot because it reduces the cooldown for that one. And it increases the chances of bigger percentage cooldown reduction on the skill that you use on the Infinity. So it'll increase your overall uptime of your second Infinity.
Gotcha.
So yeah, when it comes to leveling skills at this point for mobbing, I probably level up your decent Holy Symbol and you know, like evenly up the boost nodes a little bit, at least until you get into the low 20s. And when it comes to bossing, I'd most likely look at your Unreliable Memory and at your Goddess Blessing.
Okay.
But yeah, apparently KMS killed Kalos. Thank you, Tiny Big F, for that. If you have a link for that, we can look at that in a little bit. 1 week into Odium. Yeah, so immediately that extra sacred power or authentic power for them apparently made a huge difference. 20-minute run too. I think, yeah, GMS should be able to kill it before Odium because we are so much stronger. Carlos kill, yeah. Okay, did you have any other questions when it comes to Theme Matrix? Because I think you have all the other... I think you're keeping all the right skills.
Yeah, I have all 4, which is the 6 skills that I need. That was a fun thing to find. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
At least you have it now, so now you can breathe easy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the one side thing on your decent skills, because you're going to be using auto buff, right?
Yes.
On the decent skills that don't gain like a lot of effects when you level them, so that's basically decent Holy Symbol is the only exception, but like the decent Sharp Eyes, decent Speed Infusion, decent Combat Orders, and decent Fun's Blessing, these don't really gain anything from leveling. And if you're going to be auto buffing, they're going to be 100% up without needing to press the button, so you're okay to extract the extras there just to get yourself more shards as you're still like building up your characters, and then you can get more quickly to the point where you can, you know, throw some nodes at your Cannoneer and get some bossing mules online as well.
Gotcha.
And then if you're like end game, you're like drowning in thousands of nodes and you desperately want to, you know, max them out for 2 or 3 extra stat or extra status resistance or something, you can do that, but early on definitely not as valuable.
I'll be completely honest here. The amount, or how do I say this? The want to have any bossing mules, let alone multiple, is like negative $1,000,000%. So
Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't really want to spread themselves too thin early, and I think that's a good idea. But as you get further and further in with the Ice Lightning, maybe you get into like the 250s, the 255s, and it's gonna start. And you're still like doing all of your totems, and your totems are all done by like, I don't know, like the 22nd of the month or something. Might feel a little bit like, I've got some extra, you know, got a little bit of breathing room.
No,
but
I'll just start off toteming. It's not a big deal.
No, I'm totally with you though. You don't want to. If you know that you're not really going to want to do that, or you don't really want to make the time for that, then don't start it too early, because you'll put that pressure on yourself to need to capitalize on that investment. So if you're feeling that that's going to be a bad thing, then don't don't put that pressure on yourself. That's a good instinct
like
to have.
With the burnout that I'm having, if I start doing boss mules, I will go back to being a seasonal player. So I would like to avoid that because there's nothing else to play right now. No bossing mules.
Yeah, nothing else at all. I guess
nothing on the Matrix.
I think they did introduce. I don't know if there's a date yet, but I think Hogwarts Legacy is available for pre-purchase, right? I don't know if you're
broke right now.
Okay,
so.
well, yeah, I saw that the pre-access thing was like $70 or something, or 70 euros. So I don't know in dollars in Canadian dollary dues, it
Probably
might be like 200 or
$79.99 usually is the new prices for games.
yeah, maybe that's not a great thing. Maybe the free-to-play whale game MapleStory might be great for you then.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, then we're through everything, and then we can get into the details of the equips.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, for V-Matrix.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Should I still just be with my shards crafting nodes and gambling, or should I be going for specific skills at this point?
Yeah, I think you can still gamble. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Still gamble. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, usually gamble until like the boost nodes are into like you could theoretically do it all the way until the boost nodes are maxed, but right now there's only one that you could craft, right? That's a skill that you need that would be lost, quote unquote, and that's your Bolt Barrage. So the amount of outs that are still high value is still almost the maximum. So I think you're good on crafting those still, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. Cool. We talked about links, Legion, blah blah blah. Yeah. So your drop and Mezzo setup is what now? 5 Mezzo, 3 drop, I think you said?
Something like that, yeah. Percentages is 60 and 11, 12.
Yeah, the 11, 12 is a little hard for me to math out because of the multiplier for reboot, right?
Yes.
So let's see, you've got your
equipment
bean mark.
item 100%. Yeah, 60 and 100%. So
okay,
3
yeah.
and 5.
3 and 5, okay. So there's just like one slot that isn't filled with the drop rate item, which is no, not the second pendant. Is it the face accessory? Yeah, because that one got stuck on 15% intellect on unique, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but yeah, that's just a matter of getting that one to legendary and getting a drop line right, and then you're good to go.
Yeah. We used up all our funds from that last week, so.
Okay, yeah, no worries.
I'll probably get a little bit more and then do another cubing session.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we've got a black bean mark here with intellect with damage. Okay. And a damage machinator pendant. Because it's got some intellect on it. Right, and no other dominators since this one, I'm guessing.
Correct.
Okay. Alright, so when it comes in general to Star Force and spending on potentials and possibly thinking about flames and everything, is a general balance between what you look at, is that roughly clear to you? Or is prioritizing in that a little bit difficult?
Star Force, I know I'm at 17 or 16 on pretty much everything. I'm not touching that unless there's an event.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of don't want to push anything else either because the next upgrade I'll be getting should be the Arcanes.
Mm-hmm.
Or, sorry, Arcanes or Superior, if Helix ever drops anything.
Yeah, it should be Superior, should be the move now that you're mainly saving for. And if you have an event, like we have the 1+1 Star Force event, you could use that to prep some of the stuff that you're going to transfer over. If they aren't 15 yet, so like Reinforced Earrings, for example. And maybe Golden Clover Belt, you can get those up to 15 to have them prepped. If the next one is a 5, 10, 15, then you can immediately capitalize on that.
Okay.
And then for Flaming, I'm guessing that you're mainly looking at your Dominator, right?
Like all of my flames right now are pretty much in a okay, we didn't hit something garbage, let's keep it.
Okay,
and I've been throwing my boss flames at the boss swap or damage swap Dominator pendant, the 16-star one. Trying to get something good to eventually go into the Sweetwater.
Yeah, and then whenever you feel like it. But I guess as long as you don't have that Dominator with that good flame, the motivation to do Commercy isn't all there as well. Kind of hinges together, right? Yeah. Yeah, you'd wanna be able to get the good flame and transpose before like a 5, 10, 15, so that when it comes around you can immediately tap it to 17. And transposing might take a few days as well. Plus transposing is 10 dineros per try and 10 per day, so that could easily cost like another 3, 4, 500 extra. So you're probably looking at least about 1,000 dineros just to get a pendant and transpose it over.
Christ.
Yeah, that can, and then you don't have any backups yet. You know, you don't have any tattoos bought yet. You're not even thinking about monocles for pat marks and any of that, and you're just at 17 as well. So, yeah, the future is.
Pat mark?
Yeah, what are those things? I have no idea. We can ask the chat. Chat, do you know what a pat mark is?
The one thing I was curious
Kindle
on
then.
is with my droplet stones from Lucid.
Yeah.
Should I be
Get an
using
armor
that
or a
for-
weapon?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was leaning towards the weapon, but I think if I can push into the 245 territory for Will, maybe. But then I'm also at the fact of like, oh, it's only a 22k Ice Lightning.
Yeah.
Is anyone really going to take a 22?
Yeah, and that's basically the determining factor, because there's a few options, right? But the main thing is, do you think you are realistically getting into hard Lucid and hard Will bosses where those things can drop without having the weapon first? And
No.
for a lot of people, that's a no, so that means you need to get the weapon first, and then that basically just
Okay.
takes care of that whole conundrum,
Okay.
yeah. Because it is a huge upgrade. Nobody really regrets it, even if you do get a box. But if you're like getting carried weekly, or you can access earlier, right, then you can kind of like wait it out and kind of just do it for like a month or so and see if you get any boxes. Then if you do, go buy that. And if you don't, then still buy the weapon eventually. And then if you do get a weapon, then you just have a backup, right? You can Star Force it
Back
past
up for
17.
when we inevitably boom the staff.
Yep, exactly.
Perfect sense.
Yeah, it kind of sucks that the boxes only have a week duration, though. I wish they had at least like a month duration, or that they were permanent, because people having to open them and having to get backups, and now they're just having them sit in their inventory, and then it might be on purpose, right? Because if you have a backup sitting in your inventory, you feel pressure to push.
Yeah, they don't want you just waiting for the event.
Yep.
I guess I can see
Mhm.
that.
Yep. So you have a reinforced, so you're kind of waiting on making that into a damage ring, I'm guessing. It's already a decent damage ring, I guess.
So, when I bought that at the time, I was still very far from being able to do Helix.
Mhm.
And then I think it was the 5, 10, 15. And I ended up getting everything you see there, that's 16 or 17,
Mm-hmm.
was in 2.4 bill or 2.8 bill, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Was that the 5,
So-
10, 15 or the Shining Star Force, where it was like combined?
It was probably the Shining,
Mhm.
but everyone in the Discord was freaking out, like, oh my god, you got way too much for... It was under 3 bill I spent, and
For no money, yeah.
Everything there went from 12 to what it's at now.
To 17 or 16, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's very solid. Nice Dex Flame on the pants. That's always love to see that.
Yep.
Both of these outcomes would have been nice, but it's a Xenon pants instead. Okay. Yeah, so when it comes to flames, you definitely got your Dominator that you're working on. When it comes to potential, so we're looking at a line of drop rate. We're looking at... yeah, your shield's looking fine. Probably... I would say probably the Fairy Heart first. Get at least 2 line int on that. Hearts have the lowest junk lines in the game, right? So it's the easiest item to get 2 lines of stat on.
Okay.
So that one's very high priority, I would say. And then after that, you know, it's all about getting the accessories to 2-line legendary, and but mainly just focusing on saving up cash for the superior and prepping any kind of superior that you can. So prepping for the superior, so getting those 15-star level 140 items, so that when a 5, 10, 15 hits, all you have to do is tap to 16, transfer, tap to 16, and just safeguard the last star. And then you can start working on that potential. either to like really nice unique potential or to like average legendary potential, because eventually we transfer over those again from 21 to 20, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to push too hard. Where you're going to be pushing harder after that is on your CRA, and it's just going to be mainly just a Star Force pushing and possibly getting like your last things, like maybe your cape up to a legendary. But again, if you're okay with the damage and you are starting to get closer to stuff like arcanes, and your cape is like this, but you're okay on damage in both mobbing and bossing, you could also just keep this and then just transfer this as the one of the first ones into an arcane cape, and then make that upgrade immediately, right? Like if you don't need the upgrade, then hold the money, spend it on a bigger jump of an upgrade, and that's always going to be more efficient than making those very small incremental changes just because it's not up to speed with all the other pieces. There's this thing where if somebody gets really lucky on a piece, they tend to increase the standard of how high everything has to be, right? Because they don't want, because now they feel like that's the new standard. When in reality, what you should be doing is lowering your standard, because your average is now being pulled up by that piece that you got lucky on. So the average amount of money you have to spend now on all the other pieces is way lower, which means you take a lot of pressure off of your investment needs, which means you can make those bigger jumps to even bigger, more efficient upgrades. You can make that jump quicker by holding onto your money a little bit more. It's a little bit paradoxical, but tends to happen with people. Like you get one really good flame, and now suddenly everything has to have an amazing flame. No, now everything can actually get a worse flame, and on average you still have the same amount of total stats, so you can save way more because of how much it gets exponentially more expensive the higher you go. But that's a little bit, yeah. You kind of learn that as you're funding characters, multiple characters through different stages. You start seeing like the opportunities to save, because everything is a bottomless pit of throwing money into, so everywhere where you can save, you definitely want to save.
Oh, sorry, I heard you say to transfer the Abso into Arcane?
No, if I said that, I just meant like to not to transfer, but to upgrade into, yeah, because that's like the next step, right? Yeah, it would be cool if you could do that.
That would have been
yeah. We often theorize that it would be cool if the lowering the level of equipment would, instead of lowering the equip level, instead of the equipment level, right? So if you could do like Abso minus or Arcane minus 30 into 170, and then you could transfer like the Abso into Arcane, that would be pretty sick. If that were the case, it would be like 21 star level 150 things into 20 Abso, tap back into 20, and then into 20 Arcanes, and that would be the... And pre-flame and then reflame after. That would be the meta for sure. Everyone would have 20 star arcanes, but then people couldn't resist tapping it to 21 and then blow up a whole lot of progress there.
Okay, that was a little confusing. So.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Good we cleared that up. Whew.
Yeah, because the flame, right, has for weapons at least, has a chance of lowering the level until you can equip it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes people look at the equip level and are like, is it actually still 160 or is it a 110 now? But yeah, obviously the level of the equipment doesn't change, just when you can equip it. But good thing that's not a thing. Yeah, that would make it a little bit more complicated. But it would be good, good content for a video though, to explain that whole system. Yeah, I guess if you have some stray flames, there's like a few items that have some really good room for progress, right? Like your your drop Mezzo set Dominator doesn't really have any flame on it. So, you can very easily get like 50 to 60 flame score worth of progress there, just to make sure that when you switch into drop rate gear, you don't get too much weaker. Because the further you go, you're going to be bossing and like complete drop in Mesogear probably as well, right? You're not going to be switching between every boss. So to make sure that...
I just threw a red flame at it, 24 int, 4 magic attack, 5% all stat.
Well, there you go. That's done.
I think we hold on to that.
Yeah, that's totally fine. That's more than a 60. That's probably like a 75 or something, right? 45, 9, 50...
Do you count magic attack as 9 or 10 or 8?
Magic attack or all stat?
Magic attack.
Magic attack is 3, and then all stat is 9 usually.
Oh, I got those mixed up. Okay.
Yeah.
So 12, 36 plus 50. 40 something.
Yeah, and then a little bit more in
70, 80, yeah. Okay.
Yep. So yeah, 75ish. Yep. So that's just the it's a very easy gain now, right? And so that's what you want to look for, those opportunities. So once that's flamed, I mean, it's all going into the Dominator. But again, there's not that much pressure on the Dominator. You can also be like, oh, I'm just going to exclusively use like Event Shop Eternals for now, or like Legion Shop Eternals if you have the riches to do that. Just to aim for those really high ones. And then once you really are sitting on like 1.5k dineros, you still don't have a good flame. You could be like, oh, I'm going to spend 1 or 2 bill just on red flames in the shop and just see if I can get something juicy out of there. But until that point, you really don't have to worry about buying flames. I really only worry about it if you're ready for the upgrade on transposing and if you have a weapon. You know, that's when you really want to worry about the flame. Other than that, it'll come in due time, because until the Star Force is at least at 20 or 21, and the potential is at least 2.5 to 3 line on Legendary, until that point, those upgrades are pretty much always going to be more efficient than really worrying about how good the flame is. So that's like a final thing you just kind of, you know, end with to finish up the project. I guess that brings us a little bit to the event shop, right, to see what stuff we could buy there. Because I think there are flames in there, and yeah, for the Harmony shop, I would definitely prioritize the Eternal Flames. Which I think, how many could you buy there? 20 or 30 maybe?
I can go real quick. It should tell me before I actually purchase them, right?
Yeah, if you hover over it, I think it should say what the limit is. Oh, someone in chat's saying 30, so that's probably the limit.
Shop. Eternals remaining within the world 30.
Yeah, so you haven't bought any out. So I would buy those out, and then it leaves you with 60, so that's enough to buy 12 more powerful flames, and then you're good on that. That's an easy one.
60.
And then you have 6.
Which flames left? Sorry.
Just the regular powerful ones I would buy. The Karma Black Flames they're really only useful if you're like looking at min-maxing your flames on arcanes and stuff, or on your really just arcanes. I would use them maybe.
So just buy out the reds then?
Yeah, I would just get as many reds as possible.
That should be 12. Okay. And Melody Shop.
Yeah, so I believe you have Eternal Flames here as well. That's probably what we're gonna get as well, because your rings are in a good situation. You bought out Trade Boost, you bought out Honor EXP is possible. Oh, you already bought those out as well. You bought out the nodes. Yep. Yeah, symbols I feel like are a bit of a scam, because I usually look at like how much time does something save you, right? And you know, buying 10 symbols for Esfera is not even, or like, you have to buy 14 for 1 day's worth, right? And that's 840 Melody coins just to skip 1 day. So yeah, no, that doesn't that doesn't seem great to me. Like, you have to buy 100 for 1 week's worth of progress. I don't know, and that's like 8,000, 8,500, right? Or so yeah, or 6,000, yeah. So that doesn't feel super worth it for me. So I'll probably go for the Eternals here as well. I don't know how many of those you can buy.
30. Leaves
30.
Us with 1,600. Yep.
1,610. Yeah. Yeah, once you have all the Eternals, then it's probably symbols after that. Just because the regular flames can also be bought with Mezzo, right? If you really need to.
Yeah.
And symbols can't be bought with Mezzo, so I probably after that go for symbols. And you had a picture of your symbols somewhere.
It should be at the top. Yeah.
Pretty at the top, right? Yeah. Oh yeah, here. 14, 13, 12, 12, 11, 11. Okay, yeah, that's looking quite nice. Yeah, so you can break those. I would just, divide it evenly between Morass and Esfera so they catch up. I think a little bit more Morass because it seemed to be a little bit behind, I think.
It's like 2 behind, yeah.
Yeah. Really? That's just 2? Wow. My eye. I could actually see that. Yeah.
I got two symbol drops and like the one totem, so.
Yeah, exactly. that'll do it. It'll either be like forgetting to pick up a daily or they actually drop, yeah.
I think
now you have to equalize it again.
More than 10. Dropped more than 10 now.
Okay, nice. Yeah, and that allows you. Yeah, if there's like a small amount of coins left, you can maybe buy a flame or EXP coupon or something like that with a little bit left over.
EXP coupons. Oh.
Yeah, who knows? I know. Yeah, there might be some other stuff. You might still have some, but if you're going to be toteming, might as well.
Yeah. Oh, they're only 15 minutes? What a scam.
Yeah, yeah. And 30 each, so you actually have to pay 60 for half an hour. It's not that cheap when you think about it. If there were 30-minute coupons, I think it would be a decent price, but for 15 minutes, But, we're just spending our last few points, so anything's better than nothing there.
Better to use them than let them expire.
Exactly.
Like those totems.
Yeah, that's gonna stay with you for a little bit longer, probably. Yeah, other than that, you know what you're working on with this stretch. Yeah, it's really just waiting for Superior, and then hopefully you get transitioned into the Superior once you get to like Hard Lucid and Hard Will, and then you can focus primarily just on the Arcanes. That'll be the goal. And if if there's any event in the meantime before you have those things, then you just send your CRA past 17, basically. Should have plenty of backups there, so that's like the next project is getting those up to 19.
19, not 20?
Typically, so 17, 19, and then 21 are usually like the benchmarks. Of course, if you get to 20, trying to get to 21 and you don't have the money to keep going, just stay at 20, of course. But the way that the calculation works is because you cannot drop below 20 once you get to 20, it's cheaper to go from 20 to 21 than it is from 19 to 20. So typically when people aim past 19, they go straight for 21. But yeah, again, depending on the personal situation, if you end up with a 20, it's still more, so usually every next star is more expensive than the previous one, right? So if you have an item, you have a CRA item that goes up to 18, it makes more sense to get another one from 17 to 18 than to get your 18 to 19, right? It's not just more expensive, but more efficient, or less efficient, I should say. So if you have an item that you got to 20, it makes more sense to get that item from 20 to 21 than to get another CRA item from 19 to 20. So for that one, it would be the inverse. But you just follow the calculations on that. So if you're ever unfamiliar, you can always check !Starforce and, with the current event, put the items in there, put all the numbers in there, and it'll just tell you what is cheaper on average. And then, then you use that to guide your choice.
Gotcha. So we're saving 7 million honor. We're
roughly, yeah.
Blaming the Mechanator. We're pushing our nodes.
Push them to the max.
Actually playing the game to level up.
Yep. And start practicing Black Mage.
What? That doesn't start for a while, so, right?
Never too young to learn,
I thought it doesn't open until like.
Oh, you can start watching some guides and watch some runs, listen to some.
Watching guide.
Watch some runs and listen to the call outs, see what kind of stuff they're paying attention to. One of the things that will start happening more when you do those higher level bosses is you really want to start using your hero's will and your Urda's will as well. But oh yeah, you were talking about your keyboard space, right?
Yes.
Because now I'm not on my Ice Lightning. I can probably pick this one up now because I totally forgot about that. Yeah, I see you. So now I got my 20 herb bags, and now I can open these and be disappointed 20 times. Let's see. Lemon balm.
Sent you my keyboard setup in Discord.
Oh, okay. All right, chat.
Helps at all.
Get ready, chat. I know you guys love to critique keyboard setups. Jasmine, peppermint, tea tree, jasmine, marjoram, rosemary, lemon balm, rosemary, peppermint, lemon balm, patchouli, and that was 20 bags, and we got nothing. Feels good. I'll log into my Ice Lightning for a quick second, see what I have there.
I know everyone's moving away from the traditional keyboard layout, but having been playing that for 16 years, it's hard to get away from.
For sure, yeah. Okay. So one thing you can do is you can put your toggles into a macro.
I tried that. I don't like it at all. Because I always end up moving and it screws it up, and then it's like trying to get the one that missed turned on is a pain.
You end up moving? What do you mean by that?
Like if you move mid because
Mid
they're not
macro?
all instant, yeah, it cuts it off.
Oh, sure, but like the first time you press them, you're just like in a town map, right?
I guess.
Because if you reapplying them, if you have to reapply them like during a boss fight, it's because you didn't have a buff freezer, right?
Yes, but there's also for like Pierre, I like to be able to turn off the which is its chilling step and teleport mastery so that I'm not accidentally healing him, for example.
Teleport mastery is... So take damage. Yeah, it does a little bit of damage. Although, you know, at that level, I don't know if it does that much damage. The main problem is like the aggro for the summons and stuff, but you probably want to take the summons off. I don't know, that's for me, that's like a matter of just like right-clicking. But yeah, that could be personal preference. But I mean, I'm just saying like that could save you like 2 keys if you want to. I would say all cures. You don't have auto all cure, right?
No.
All cure is something.
I might have a slot for it, but.
All cures is something that I usually pass this like once Chaos Ping Bean dies quickly. I never use all cures anymore ever. So I don't have those on a dedicated key. But it goes into the other thing like. You still have quite some freedom on the top right keys, right? Like the insert through page down. Yeah, that's usually where I put certain buffs and stuff. So like that's where I have my summons. So like what you have on D and on F, I have those over there instead. Because you don't push them that often, so that creates some space where your left hand is to push some skills that you want to push more often that have lower cooldowns. But yeah, that's up to you. And then other than that, there's a few keys that are like still pretty close to the left side that you can move away. So what I started doing is I moved my chat options 1 through 5. I moved those instead to the right side. Move them through to 8 through equals instead. Because you're mainly switching chat options when you're not bossing anyway, when it's a little bit lower, you know, and you can look at your keyboard and see where the keys are exactly, because you're not in high pressure situations. But you want to have those keys 1 through 5 more available in high stress situations when your hand or like your pinky or maybe your index, your middle finger can just like slide upwards and hit those keys more easily. And that creates a lot more space. Also, I moved my stat window again because that's something I only check when I'm like out of combat or when I'm, you know, in a lower stress place. I moved the stat key also away. That one's like on F8 for me. And that also created like a key that's like right in the thick of it, where you want all your attacking keys to be, to give that one a little bit more, just another extra key that you can press whenever you need access to it. And yeah, there's a few keys that aren't necessary, like Monster Collection on B. I just use the options for that on the bottom right, and then just click up. Silent Crusade I don't have on a key. Like if I really need that, I'll look it up. So and those are like moderately close to the left side of the keyboard, so those could still be used for some stuff maybe. But like on Y, I have the NPC chat, so that I could just hold it down and blow through conversation.
That's tilde for me.
Would you say it's too late?
It's on tilde.
Oh, tilde. Oh yeah, that's where I have pet food, but whatever works for you, of course.
Yeah.
Works for me on Y because it's just like one key that you hold down. But for boss fights, I move it away from Y and put it on W instead. Because W, I had the world map for the longest time, so it was kind of like open. But if you need to use the NPC chat, for some bosses you need to use it, right? Like for Lucid, you have to cleanse. For Will, you have to change dimensions and use your Moonlight. So for those bosses, you have to use it a little bit more. Cleansing and Damien, that kind of stuff. So that's why I kept it a little bit closer to the left side, so I don't have to move my hand all the way more to the right side and away from where all the damage is and where all the stuff is, so I can respond a little bit faster to switching dimensions in will mostly.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and then I have my infinities are also like on the top right, like on that block of 6 keys, basically.
Yeah, my main infinity is F2, and then the unreliable is F4.
Mm-hmm.
Angelic Buster takes F3 when that's open.
Yep. Yeah, so instead of an F3, I have that one on 3 for myself. So it's just one row lower, so it's a little bit closer to my hands, yeah.
Okay, get rid of the chat buttons. Okay.
Yeah, that was so first was for me was moving the world map. Well, moving the stat map, that was the stat key, that was pretty easy. And then I moved the world map. That took a long time for me to get used to because I had like 30,000 hours of just like before I even thought about it, my finger had already tapped the key. So I put blink on there so that every time I pressed it, I was like randomly teleporting through the map just to, you know, just to teach myself not to do it because every time I would get like stop. And it took some reprogramming, but even, you know, Boomer Me was able to do it, so I'm sure you can do it. And moving the chat has been a little bit annoying, but it's freed up so much extra opportunity on the left side of the keyboard that I can definitely recommend that.
Yeah, that's 5, 6 buttons, so that's...
Absolute Zero Aura F9 means he doesn't use it for Storm. Yeah, I moved that one to the 1 key for me. The Absolute Zero, right? Because if you do it with the down arrow key, it creates that storm that replenishes those stacks.
What?
So you know Absolute Zero, right? It can create the little tornado.
No.
So if you look at here, Absolute Zero Aura, like this, it looks like a blue tornado. So if you use it, if you activate it with the down arrow key, wait, hang on, let me check if my skill animations are, no, they're not. So when you're bursting, you want to do this. And then the monster that's in it keeps replenishing their free stacks. So as you're bursting, especially with this skill here, this does lightning damage, and your lightning does more damage as there are more free stacks on the target. But doing damage with lightning takes a free stack off. But if you use the tornado together, you're replenishing the free stacks as they're getting taken off, so you're increasing your overall damage, because it's constantly replenishing those stacks. So that's another thing to optimize your burst within the infinity, basically.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yep. And because it's on F... Well, somebody pointed out on the keyboard, since it's on F9, that kind of shows that, because you wouldn't be like down arrow F9 like to set up your burst, because that's really out of the way, right? So hopefully moving the keys around a little bit will give you closer access to that. Yeah, it's only been a thing since Destiny. They changed how that skill works.
Okay. I need to figure out a new spot for that. God damn.
Yeah.
That's so much better. I've just been using the Ice Ball and Ice Age to keep stacks up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those help, but for the burst, you want to... Yeah, the other one helps. You place that down somewhere, wait until the boss walks into it, and when you have low infinity, bam, bind, and then... what is it? Jupiter Thunder first, right? To increase all your lightning damage. Throw Barrage, and then use the Hyper. And then it should replenish the stacks as you're eating them up. Because that's that critical damage, right? That we talked about in the beginning. That keeps that critical damage high.
Yep.
And ID, yep.
Sheesh. I need to... Are there any more interactions like that I should know about? I know the Thunder Sphere can be planted.
Yep, Thunder Sphere planting. Yeah, that's also since Destiny. I guess Blizzard, right? If you keep Blizzard on cooldown, then you get a passive effect for an extra attack, right?
Okay, we need to start using Blizzard more often.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you have like a little bit of a dead moment, just slam a Blizzard down so that you have it. Because it's like passive effect. Although it says here as passive effect. Is that still when it's on cooldown, or is that always now, guys? Because I don't remember if that changed exactly through... Because I know they changed...
On attacking.
Yeah, because it says passive now, but it doesn't mention cooldown now that I'm reading it. It used to be on cooldown, but maybe they changed that. Because I remember I had it... Oh, Axel saying always.
I'm pretty sure it's permanent.
Okay.
Because I know I've seen the If it's the little ice meteor.
Yeah, it's like
I've
a single
seen that
one.
when
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's permanent now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I remember I had I rolled into cooldown skip on my fire poison when I was doing Project CRA, and one time I had to spam it 4 times to get it actually to go on cooldown, so I could get the effect because it kept cooldown skipping. So that wasn't good. Okay, so we started with the Ice Lightning Burst, and we went full circle and came back to the Ice Lightning Burst.
Awesome. That's actually really helpful.
Yep. Yeah, and extra stuff like that, you know, if you join, I think it's Explorer Mage sub-Discord, that can help. You know, we can ask more, like, specific tips like that.
I went to join the Evan one to ask a very simple question, and they were very elitist about you have to be a 210 plus, and says that I'm refused to join any of those Discords now. That one has ruined all of them for me.
No, I get you. Yeah, I joined all of them to try to work, to try to start like an try to start like a cooperation where people would like, you know, basically let me know information and we can have some kind of sharing of information so we could get the correct information to people who want to play a character. And I instantly got banned from like 6 of the Discords just because I was me, so that was already a good start. And then basically the reason was like, well, because you give people bad information. So apparently the response to that is to ban you from a Discord for trying to ask for better information, because they don't really care about if people get good or bad information. They just care that they are the ones who get to give people the information, you know, so that they feel important. So that tends to be, that'll if you have the wrong people actually running the Discord, then that can happen. Thankfully, most of the Discords are pretty welcoming. And they just want new people to have a good time playing their class. But yeah, some of the Discords, people kind of get power hungry. They're on the internet. They don't have much going on in their lives, and that's like the only thing they can do, you know. Just like, pity them and move on, I guess. Or make a rivaling Discord and make it cool for new people. That's possible. I was checking Discord to see if you were there, and your icon is so distracting. It's the butt face with the top hat.
It's a peach.
It's a peeled peach. Okay, it's a lychee.
It's a peach. It's a peach because of Animal Crossing. I wear a suit and I have peaches as my main item. It's peach.
I see. It doesn't have anything to do with the South Park episode where people talking farts or anything like that.
Nope.
Okay, just a similarity. Okay. All right. I'm scrolling through everything, trying to see if there's anything that we missed. But let me know if you see anything there. I guess as a follow-up thing, like if your ID is that high, that's cool. You definitely want to keep your emblem the way it is, right? So your secondary, your shield is probably on the chopping block after you get your full Superior Golix set, right? You get Bigger Legion, Superior Golix, your ID will get too high, and then you can drop a line on your WSE, so then your shield is going to be re-rollable, right? Because then essentially it'll be like 1.5 line or something. So you definitely want to re-roll it to 2 or maybe 2.5 if you get lucky.
The backup emblem because of the new Explorer as well.
Okay, yeah. So probably then after the shield, you can, with like extra Meisters or stuff like that, you can roll on a backup emblem, see if you get something insane out of that. Maybe like a 1239 or something like that, right?
Gotcha.
That could be really cool. Yeah, if you get to the very high level areas, don't underestimate for the Legion grid. Once the Legion grows more, don't underestimate the normal monster damage there. Also not if you're, for your hyperstats, because the base damage is pretty low. That can do quite a lot for you. And it's more important to kill faster than it is to get like 6% extra bonus EXP from the monsters you do kill, right?
For sure.
So definitely prioritize that if you need it for the kill speed over going into bonus EXP, as tempting as it may be. Alright, I can't really think of anything else to go over. Is there anything else that's on your mind?
The only question I had, will the VOD or the video be posted to YouTube just so I can go back to it if I need to?
Yeah, I'll upload it after this, and then maybe not right after this, but I'll like clip it in a little bit, and then it'll go on the YouTube channel. Yeah, and you can watch it back there.
Awesome.
What do you mean you didn't write everything down meticulously?
I was supposed to be taking notes.
Uh-oh, failed the class.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be there, and then you can listen to yourself in the recording, which most people love. So it should be fine.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Yeah, if there's anything majorly important that we missed, just reach out on Discord, and otherwise I'll just see you in the chat, and you can ask anything there, and then if I see it, I'll reply.
Perfect.
All right. Well, good luck then.
Yep.
And
bye chat.
Yep. Bye chat. And have a good rest of your day.
Bing bong.
Okay. Say bing bong. All right, bing bong in the chat, boys. All right, so that was another cool, clean progression session, and for some reason, there was a shadow on the right side of my green screen. There's more light there than on the left side. Why is that side acting all squiggly and shit? Whatever. Must be because of weird outside lighting. Someone is there. True. Oh, look, and now it's completely gone until 4 seconds from now, and then it's just going to come back. 3, 2, 1. No, well, maybe in the future. Okay, so yeah, if you enjoyed this session, if it was important to you, informational to you, maybe not important, that's a bit of a heavy word there, but if you learned 1 or 2 or 3 things, I'm glad. If you want to learn more, check out the other videos in the playlist with more sessions like these. We're over 300 sessions deep now, so all of your totems for the next year plus that you're doing, probably 2 year, 3 year plus, I've got you covered with at least one of these sessions, so you don't have to be super bored. If you have any questions based on this session, either leave them in YouTube comments or find me live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Scardor. I stream there every day. I do this full-time, more than full-time actually. And you can reach out there, ask anything. I myself have gathered a whole bunch of people in the chat, knowledgeable people up there. Oh, the green sparkles are back. And they know a lot about the game as well. So even if I don't see your question, they probably tell you a command that I have. I have about 200 commands at this point with information that is linked to all of the things in the game. So all the things that you see that we opened here, these things, these are all connected to commands in the chat that you can have direct access to. So if you want one of these sessions, make sure to check the description of the video on how you can do that. There's 3, well, or I'll just tell you right now, there's 3 ways. One is leaving a comment on this video saying that you would like to win a session, and then at the end of the month, I draw 2 winners that can have a free session with me. The other one is through channel points that you get by watching the stream that you can use if you are a subscriber on Twitch. And the third one is just through a direct PayPal donation, and the prices for that are shown in the description of the video. So with that, I thank you for watching, and I'll either see you on the next video, or I'll see you live on Twitch when I stream.